Gleeson torments his former teammates at Old Trafford. 2 days after the disappointment of a semi-final defeat by Hampshire in the One-Day Cup, Lancashire resumed their County Championship campaign against a Northants side still looking for their first win of the season in the competition. The hosts without James Anderson, who sustained a knee injury in that game on Sunday. A huge blow after his 6-wicket haul helped them beat Middlesex in round 2. Despite the absence of their talisman, Lancashire won the toss and elected to bowl in perfect conditions at Old Trafford. But they struggled to make an early impression, with Northants openers Vasconcelos and Newton settling in nicely, 30 without loss after 10 overs. But that serene start was interrupted when Newton picked up an injury and had to call for a runner. And soon after, Vasconcelos edged Richard Gleeson, and after checking with keeper Dane Vilas, the opener walked, Northants 38 for 1. And Gleeson soon struck again on his return from injury and against his former county, Vilas taking another catch to remove skipper Alex Wakely for just 2. That brought Temba Bafuma to the crease for his championship debut for Northants, and the South African steered his side out of danger and through to lunch with no further loss of wickets. 80 for 2 at the interval, the visitors with the slightest upper hand, Lancashire needing more of the same from Gleeson in the afternoon session. And the paceman obliged, removing Newton in his first over after lunch, LBW for 32. A tight contest was soon turning the home side's way. Northants had just passed 3 figures when Keogh was also trapped in front. Gleeson was now having a day to remember with figures of 4 for 28. And the momentum of the game had completely changed in the next over when JJ Cobb fell second ball to Bailey thanks to a great catch by Rob Jones. Bavuma needed someone to stay with him, and Luke Proctor looked up to the task, but the visitors' plight soon worsened. Bavuma adjudged LBW to Onions for 39, 119 for 6. Northants loan signing Luke Wood joined Proctor at the crease, and the pair set about repairing the damage. Proctor was particularly inspired against his former county, and played the lead role in a stand that was finally broken by that man Gleeson just before tea, Jennings taking the catch to remove Proctor for 48. Northants 190 for 7 at the break, thanks largely to that stand of 70 between Proctor and Wood. With 5 wickets in the afternoon, Lancashire well on top. And the home team's advantage quickly grew in the evening session as Onions took 2 quick wickets. Jamie Overton LBW for 6 on his Northants debut, before Buck was bowled for a duck 3 balls later. The end of the innings was nigh, but Wood didn't go quietly. A few more lusty blows from the low knee before he became Onion's 4th victim, out for 66. Northants all out for 230, tormented by their former player, Gleeson taking his first fifer for Lancashire on his first appearance of the season. The home side's reply didn't reach stumps unscathed. Hamid made a century in his last championship game, but no repeat this time, caught behind off Sanderson for 7. Jennings and Burns saw Lancashire through to the close, 29 for 1, just 201 runs behind, and surely well placed on an Old Trafford wicket that's bound to get easier for batting. Jennings steers Lancashire into the lead at Old Trafford. Lancashire well on top after day 1 as they made light of the absence of the injured Jimmy Anderson, thanks to Richard Gleeson. The paceman took 5 for 63 against his former county as Northants were dismissed for 230. The home side lost Hasib Hamid in reply to close on 29 for 1. The visitors needed early success on day 2 to stay in contention, and they managed that thanks to Luke Wood. The debutant on loan from Notts followed his 66 with the bat, with the wicket of Joe Burns caught behind for 10. But Keaton Jennings dropped anchor for the hosts and found willing support from Rob Jones. Progress was steady rather than spectacular, with Jamie Overton keeping things tight on his Northants debut. But the pair completed a 50 stand, and Jennings reached a personal half-century not long before lunch, as Lancashire moved steadily closer to the visitors' total. At lunch, the opener was 55 not out, Jones 29, in a total of 112 for 2, Northants sticking to their task well on a wicket that was offering little assistance. After the interval, the Lancashire batsmen started to reap the benefits of their patient start, with Jones in particular coming out of his shell and beginning to find the boundary. They posted a century partnership with Jones moving past 50, although Jennings had a let-off when he was dropped by Bavuma at slip off Overton. The England man looked to make the most of that reprieve, and by tea he'd moved into the 90s with 10 fours. Jones 61 not out, in a total of 183 for 2. Just 71 runs scored in the session as Lancashire edged towards Northants' total. The visitors needed inspiration and found it quickly after the interval. With just 5 runs added to the total, Jennings edged Sanderson behind to fall an agonising 3 runs short of his ton. And 3 balls later, Liam Livingstone followed for a duck, clean bowled for Wood's second wicket. His impressive debut continued in his next over when he had Jones LBW for 61, and Lancs had lost 3 wickets for 15 runs since tea. They edged past 200 before Overton took his first wicket for Northants, Croft becoming a 4th victim of the innings for Vasconcelos. The hosts were now facing the prospect of a first innings deficit, but Vilas and Bailey had other ideas. The skipper played an unfamiliar supporting role as Bailey hit 7 fours in his 42 as Lancashire built a useful lead by the close. 276 for 6 meant an advantage of 46 runs. Unspectacular progress on day 2 for the hosts, who now have the chance to take a firm grip on the game on day 3. Gleeson the star again as Lancashire set up inevitable victory on day 4. Keaton Jennings made 97 as Lancashire took a first innings lead on day 2, but it was hard work for the home side. Less than 250 runs scored in the day, with Luke Wood the pick of the Northants bowlers with 3 wickets. Resuming on 276 for 6, Lancashire looked to extend their 46-run advantage, with Vilas and Bailey having already added 67. Bailey moved to his 50, with the home side also keen to up the run rate. Vilas followed his example, and the pair reached a century stand. But Bailey did have to leave the field when he was bowled by Buck for 68. Vilas was still there and intent on scoring quickly. He found useful backup from Saqib Mahmood, and it turned into another frustrating session for Northants. They took just 1 wicket as the home side moved to 387 for 7 at lunch, 157 runs ahead. When play resumed, the pair pressed on until at exactly 400, Vilas fell, caught and bowled by Wood. Like Jennings the day before, he was dismissed 3 runs short of a deserved century. After he was gone, the end of the innings came quickly. Onions was caught by Buck as Wood completed his fifer. And in the next over, Gleeson was LBW to Keogh for a duck. Lancashire 415 all out. Jennings and Vilas both out for 97, while Wood finished with 5 for 72. Northants 185 behind and with much to do to save the match. Vasconcelos had a new opening partner in Luke Proctor, and the pair settled quickly. They'd shaved 34 off the deficit, with Vasconcelos hitting 5 fours in his 22 before he was first to go. Bailey's good match continuing as Croft took the catch. And before tea, Lancashire's grip on the game tightened further. Wakely picked out Hamid at cover in Gleeson's first over of the innings. And 54 for 2 was 54 for 3 when Proctor edged Onions to Jennings at slip. No further mishaps for Northants before tea thanks to Bavuma and Keogh, but at 87 for 3 they still trailed by 98 runs. And 1 ball into the evening session they were 4 down, Bavuma edging Bailey to Vilas and gone for 15. For the rest of the day it was the Richard Gleeson show as the paceman punished his former county for the 2nd time in the match. He pinned Cobb LBW for 30. And in his next over, Keogh was caught behind for 42. Rob Newton was Northants' last recognised batsman, but he couldn't resist Gleeson either and was bowled for 4. 2 balls later, the same routine did for Overton, and at 150 for 8, Lancs were on course for an innings victory. Gleeson had 10 wickets in the match, and with 2 more required to win, the home side claimed the extra half hour. But when Wood edged Livingstone onto his stumps, Northants led by just 7 with 3 overs left. Sanderson hit Bailey for 4, but then he was caught at short leg by Jones off Livingstone Northants were all out for exactly 200, a lead of 15 runs. Lancashire will return on day 4 to complete the formalities. Northants are praying for downpours in Manchester. Less than 3 overs required for Lancashire to clinch victory. Another superb display from Richard Gleeson took Lancashire to the brink of their second championship win of the season at Old Trafford. The paceman took his second 5-wicket haul of the game against his former county to help dismiss Northants for 200 in their second innings, leaving the home side to score just 16 runs on day 4. Despite the prospect of some rain, play started on time and the Lancashire openers were in a hurry. Hasib Hamid hit Cobb for a 4, and with less than 2 overs bowled, the home side were halfway to their target. And in Proctor's next over, successive boundaries from Hamid finished the job. Lancashire scoring the runs they needed in just 16 balls, with Hamid 13 not out and Jennings on 4. Lancashire's strong start to the campaign continues, a 10-wicket win for 21 points. Just 3 for Northants after their first defeat following 2 draws. Their search for a first win will continue at home to Sussex on Monday, while Lancashire are back at Old Trafford to entertain Worcestershire.